The Senate will come to order. Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I move that the Senate suspend its rules so that an individual other than a serving state senator can lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The rules will be suspended. We have a special guest, Seth King. He's 37 years old from Longmont and is on the autism spectrum. He has overcome many obstacles, including anxiety and depression. Sounds like a legislator. To happily live with his provider and roommate for over a year now, Seth works in a restaurant in Boulder and in his spare time loves playing video games, listening to country music, and watching vintage TV shows on Hulu. He's the #1 Broncos fan. I knew we would find him. Seth also was on the Colorado Special Olympics softball team that won gold this summer. Give it up for Seth. Seth regularly volunteers his time and attends Faith Baptist Church in Longmont. Seth? Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, Seth, maybe you'll repeat that gold medal, and maybe your Broncos will repeat that trophy. Mr. Majors, would you please call the roll?
Senators Aguilar, Baumgartner, Baumgartner,
Absent.
Carroll, Cook, Crowder,
Excused.
Donovan, Garcia, Grantham, Guzman, Heath, Hill, Hodge, Holbert, John, Johnston, Jones, Kafalas, Kerr, Lambert, Lundberg, Marble, Martinez-Umenick, Merrifield, Neville, Newell, Roberts, Scheffel, Scott, Sonnenberg, Stedman, Tate, Todd, Ulibarri, Woods, Baumgartner. Mr. President.
Here, with 34 present, 0 absent, 1 excused, we have a quorum. Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the reading of the Journal of Tuesday, February 16th be dispensed with and the Journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted and the Journal is approved. Reports of committees of reference.
February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration, the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1237 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration, the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1238 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration, the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1239 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1240 be amended as follows, and as so amended before the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1242 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1243 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1244 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1245 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1246 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1248 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1249 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1250 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1251 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1252 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1253 before the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation. February 17, 2016, Committee on Appropriations, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1254 before the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation. February 16, 2016, Committee on Judiciary, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 88 be amended as follows, and as so amended before the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation. February 16, 2016, Committee on Judiciary, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 49 be postponed indefinitely. February 16, 2016, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 76 be postponed indefinitely. February 16, 2016, Committee on Business, Labor, and Technology, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 80 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation. February 16, 2016, Committee on Transportation, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. House Bill 1053 be referred to the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation, with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar. February 16, 2016, Committee on Transportation, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 109 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. February 16, 2016, Mr. President, the Committee on Transportation has had under consideration at that hearing on the following appointments. Recommends the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Transportation Commission for a term expiring July 1st, 2017. Heather M. Berry of Westminster, Colorado, serves as Commissioner from the 4th Transportation District, reappointed for a term expiring July 1st, 2019. Nolan E. Schreiner of Colorado Springs, Colorado, to serve as a Commissioner from the 9th Transportation District, appointed. February 16, 2016, Mr. President, the Committee on Transportation has had under consideration at a hearing on the following appointments. Recommends the appointments be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Members of the Transportation Commission for terms expiring July 1st, 2019. Edward James Peterson of Lakewood, Colorado, serves as a Commissioner from the 2nd Transportation District, reappointed. Kathleen R. Gilliland of Livermore, Colorado, serves as Commissioner from the 5th Transportation District, reappointed. Kathy I. Connell of Steamboat Springs, Colorado, to serve as Commissioner from the 6th Transportation District, reappointed. Stephen Leon Hoffmeister of Haxton, Colorado, serves as Commissioner from the 11th Transportation District, reappointed. February 16, 2016, Committee on Finance, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 86 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. February 16, 2016, Committee on Finance, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 124 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. February 16, 2016, Committee on Finance, after consideration of the Mayor's Committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 74 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations.
Senate Services.
February 17, 2016, correctly printed Senate Bills 125, 126, 127, and 128, correctly gross Senate Bills 51 and 112, correctly read gross Senate Bill 63 and 107, correctly revised House Bill 1044, correctly re-revised House Bill 1018.
Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate proceed out of order for purposes of consideration of Senate Joint Resolution 7.
Yes, we will add Senator Crowder to the roll, and then the motion before the body is to proceed out of order for consideration of resolution, specifically SJR 7. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will proceed out of order for consideration of resolutions. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title of Senate Joint Resolution 7?
Senate Joint Resolution 7 by Senator Crowder and Representatives Asgar and Navarro concerning Awareness Day for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move SJR 16-007 and ask that it be read to length.
Mr. Majors, would you please read SJR 7?
Whereas, for over 50 years, Colorado's community-based services system has led the way for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities to receive services and supports that afford them greater independence and community interaction. And whereas Colorado's community system for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities has a long, proud history of enabling individuals to move from large institutional services to smaller community-based integrated services that offer personalized assistance and support. And whereas Colorado's community system for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities helps individuals obtain meaningful employment in a variety of settings, allowing them to work and build relationships within their communities. And whereas Coloradans with intellectual and developmental disabilities in every county across the state are able to live, learn, play, and work in their communities with the dignity, choices, opportunities, and responsibilities afforded to all citizens due to the services and supports provided by local community-centered boards and program-approved service agencies. And whereas there is significant demand across Colorado for services and supports for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and waiting lists for services are growing. And whereas today, more than 15,000 Coloradans with intellectual and developmental disabilities receive high-quality services and supports through community-centered boards and program-approved service agencies. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the 70th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, proclaim February 17, 2016, to be Awareness Day for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the state of Colorado. Be it further resolved that copies of this joint resolution be sent to community-centered boards and organizations that provide services and supports to adults and children with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families throughout Colorado.
Senator Crowder.
Thank you.
Colleagues, please be seated.
Have a seat, ladies and gentlemen. Whereas there's significant demand across Colorado for services and supports for individuals with intellectual and development disabilities, and waiting lists for services are continuing to grow. Ladies and gentlemen of the legislation, I want to commend you and I want to thank you for your efforts on pushing this forward. Right now we're serving roughly 15,000 people that have IDD in the state of Colorado, and I think we should, I would like to commend you on your efforts on this. This is a situation where we in the state of Colorado look very favorable on serving those that are less fortunate, and I think it's imperative that we continue this support, and I'm very proud to be a part of this resolution because I do believe it shows the character of the state of Colorado, and it shows what we can do if we put our minds to it, and what we should continue to support. With that, Mr. President, I will yield to other individuals.
Is there further discussion? Senator Aguilar.
Thank you, Senator Crowder. Members, I rise in support of this resolution.
Senator Aguilar, it's the president.
No, I was speaking to him, sorry.
Oh, did you say Crowder?
And thank you, Mr. President, for recognizing me. I was trying to look for the data, but I need to stop being so obsessed with data. But we were recently given an update from the Department of Healthcare Policy and Financing that shows that we actually have people who have been on the waiting list for 20 years or more, and their parents, the people themselves, are in their 60s. And so I am pleased with the work and advancement the governor has made on getting rid of particularly supported living services for people with developmental disabilities. But most of the people who really are dependent 24/7 on care need the more comprehensive benefit. And we have many, as I said, who are 60 and older who are still waiting to access that benefit. And so I think we need to do more work at making sure we're being accountable for everything we're spending in this population, and also be sure that we make every effort we can to try and bring relief to those parents who are still raising their 60-year-old children in the near future. Thank you.
Senator Kafalios.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I rise in support of SJR 007. And just want to say that in my community, Foothills Gateway has been a wonderful community partner over the years in terms of serving folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And I believe that the CCBs are, overall, they're excellent partners in terms of moving our systems to ensure that we are focused on person-centered, consumer-directed, people living in the community as part of the community, and also with the understanding that persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities are seeking meaningful employment and seeking meaningful engagement in our community. And for those reasons, I rise in support of this resolution, and I rise in support of community center boards. Thank you.
Senator Newell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to also rise in support of this resolution and of the progress that we have made in taking some of those people and getting them off of the waiting list. However, if there is any role for government, it would be to help with those through no fault of their own are in need of support services. So I would wholeheartedly hope that every single year we work on this in the budget, but that we make a bigger chunk in the budget so that people's lives are not constrained, are not overburdened, and thus our systems. Many of you know that my brother, who is no longer with us, had intellectual development disabilities, and he loved being able to work at his workshop and get his check every week, and he loved his participation in the Special Olympics, and he won in bowling and swimming and all of that, and all of our lives can be so much more meaningful because we are together as a community in support of all of us as individuals. And so I thank the sponsors for bringing this forward. And I am hoping, even though I'm termed out this year and I can't vote on a budget after this year, I'm hoping you all who are remaining when we are able to, as quickly as we are able to completely eliminate that wait list. Thank you so much.
Senator Stedman.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, colleagues. I also rise in support of Senate Joint Resolution 7. And I just want to say that I'm very supportive of the idea of declaring today to be an awareness day for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. But I really don't think one day is adequate. And actually, I would encourage us all to maybe make this whole session about awareness of the issues facing individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The longer I've served in this body, the more time I've spent working on this issue, and the more I realize how far we have to go. We've made incredible progress in recent budget cycles trying to eliminate waiting lists for children, but that doesn't mean every child has access to services, and there are still waiting lists for adults. There's a lot of work to be done. We have a system of state institutions that we call regional centers that house some of these folks, that some of us spent a year sitting on a task force discussing what will be the future of those facilities, and is it the right way to serve this population in that level of institutional care. There are some big changes coming for those systems. And yet there are also some small measures of progress to also celebrate. Just this morning in the Appropriations Committee, we moved forward legislation that will appropriate money to help train mandatory reporters who will be required to report abuse of vulnerable at-risk adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities because of legislation the Joint Budget Committee brought forward last year. That, believe it or not, it was not something that was a required report in our state until this year. That law will take effect on July 1st. In our supplemental cycle this year, we'll be appropriating resources to help mandatory reporters and county departments of adult protective services respond to reports of abuse or neglect against these individuals. There are some really great challenges, and unfortunately, the answer to most of them will require increased appropriations and a lot of new legislation and some creative thinking about how to reform our system and meet the needs of these people who do depend on us, whose families cannot alone manage to provide the level of services and support and care that their loved ones need. There will be a role for government, and it's something that I encourage all of us to focus on, not just on this one Awareness Day, but throughout your service here in the General Assembly.
Senator Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. President, and I thank the last speaker, my colleague from the Budget Committee from City of Denver. He and I had served together on the Regional Center Task Force, which was about an 18-month act of love, meeting once a month. We didn't have anything else to do, you know, but that was a very important time to focus on not just the regional centers and the issues that surround the aging infrastructure of our regional centers and our institutions, but also ask some very important public policy questions about what is the right balance of state or institutional care and community care. And many of our future plans will be affected by federal law, which now is encouraging more and more treatment in the community, which I think is appropriate. Certainly, the measure of a society and the people of a society is often measured by how we treat people who are the most vulnerable among us. And I hope that this action will be foremost in your minds as we move forward to try to remove stigma. We try to actually increase the lifespan of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. That's been very successful over the last probably 30, 40 years, that we no longer consider this population as people just to be warehoused, but as to be members of our community that we can accept in our schools, in our communities, and in our lives. Thank you very much.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 7. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Joint Resolution 7 is adopted. Co-sponsor, Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that the current roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Without objection, the current roll call will be added as co-sponsors. Colleagues, let me invite you to welcome all those who are here participating and joining us specifically for this resolution. And if you are, would you please stand wherever you are so that we can thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. And Seth, we had the Broncos cheerleaders here a couple weeks ago. They left behind something. I think they left this for you, so I will deliver this to you shortly. Introduction of resolutions.
Senate Joint Resolution 8 by Senators Donovan, Martinez, Dominic, and Representatives Lawrence and Primavera concerning awareness of heart disease and in connection therewith declaring February 19, 2016 as National Wear Red Day.
Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate lay over Senate Joint Resolution 8 to February 19.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Joint Resolution 8 will lay over until February 19th. Third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 112?
Senate Bill 112 by Senator Tate concerning a modification of the required quantity of voter service in polling centers.
Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate lay over Senate Bill 112 to February 24.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Senate Bill 112 will lay over until February 24th. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 51?
Senate Bill 51. Senate Bill 51 by Senators Johnston and Lundberg and Representative Melton concerning increasing judicial discretion regarding the imposition of consecutive sentences for violent crimes.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move and we move Senate Bill 51 and ask for a favorable adoption and approval.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 51. Are there any no votes? Senator Cook. Senator Sonnenberg. With 33 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 51 is adopted. Co-sponsors, Senator Hill, Mr. Majority Leader, Madam Minority Leader, Senator Woods, Senator Aguilar, Senator Ulibarri, Senator Marble, Senator Stedman, Senator Kafalis, Senator Kerr, Senator Newell, Senator Todd, Senator Hodge, Senator Merrifield, Senator Neville, Senator Heath, Senator Grantham, Senator Lambert, Senator Tate, Senator Baumgardner, Senator John, Senator Scott, Senator Jones. Please have the President. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1044?
House Bill 1044 by Representative Becker J. and Senator Hill concerning the extension of dates related to the Petroleum Storage Tank Fund.
Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1044.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of House Bill 1044. Are there any no votes? Senator Kerr. Senator Kerr will be recorded as a yes vote. If you raise 2 hands, I think you really want to be a no vote, for sure. With 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1044 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Sonnenberg, Senator Neville, Senator John, Senator Scott, Senator Cook, Senator Kerr, Senator Kerr again, Senator Roberts, Senator Baumgardner, Senator Lundberg, Majority Leader Scheffel, Senator Martinez-Humenick. Senator Marble. General Order, second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the General Order, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of General Orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Lundberg will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and the court rule is relaxed. Mr. Majors, would you please read the titles to all the bills listed on the consent calendar?
Senate Bill 27 by Senators Martinez-Humenick and Todd, Representatives Primavera-Landgraf, considering allowing the option for Medicaid clients to obtain prescribed drugs through the mail. Senate Bill 30 by Senator Hodge, Representative Tyler, considering the surcharges for violating motor vehicle weight limits. Senate Bill 89 by Senator Lambert and Representative Hamner, considering the establishment of an alternative maximum reserve for the Department of State cash fund. Senate Bill 91 by Senator Lambert and Representative Hamner, concerning timing of the statewide discovery sharing system. Senate Bill 92 by Senator Grantham and Representative Rankin, concerning the authorization of the state tax pursuant to the Federal Oil Pollution Act of 1990. Senate Bill 93 by Senator Lambert and Representative Young, concerning transfer of the oversight of independent living services from the Department of Human Services to the Department of Labor and Employment. Senate Bill 95 by Senator Stedman and Representative Young, concerning the 5-year appropriations requirement for bills that change the periods of incarceration in state correctional facilities.
Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the committee adopt the bills listed on the General Order's second reading of bills consent calendar, which includes Senate Bill 27 and its associated Health and Human Services Committee report, and the Associated Appropriations Committee report, Senate Bill 30 and its Associated Appropriations Committee report, Senate Bill 89, Senate Bill 91, Senate Bill 92, Senate Bill 93, Senate Bill 95, and its Associated Appropriations Committee report. Ask for an aye vote.
Is there any discussion on any of the committee reports? The motion before the body is the adoption of the reports to all the bills on the General Order's second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the reports are adopted. Is there any discussion on any of the bills listed on the General Order's consent calendar? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the General Order's second reading of bills consent calendar. All in favor, say aye. And those opposed, no. The ayes have it again, and the bills are adopted. Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the committee rise and report.
The motion before the body is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The aye has it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come back to order. Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Mr. Majors, would you please read the report?
February 17, 2016, Mr. President, your committee of the whole based on your reports out of consideration of the following attached bills, being a second reading thereof, makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 27 as amended, Senate Bill 30 as amended, Senate Bill 89, Senate Bill 91, Senate Bill 92, Senate Bill 93, Senate Bill 95 as amended, passed on second reading in order to gross, placed on the counter for third reading and final passage.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
The motion before the body is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 27 as amended, Senate Bill 30 as amended, Senate Bill 89, Senate Bill 91, Senate Bill 92, Senate Bill 93, Senate Bill 95 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. General orders, second reading of bills. Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the general orders, second reading of bills calendar.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general orders, second reading of bills. Senator Lundberg will take the chair.
The committee will come to order, and the court rule is relaxed. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 7?
Senate Bill 7 by Senator Roberts concerning the establishment of a multiplier in the renewable energy standard for electricity generated from certain types of biomass, providing incentive to use materials located within areas that have a high risk of wildfire.
Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that Senate Bill 7 lay over to February 18.
The motion is for Senate Bill 7 to lay over till February 19th. Was that the motion? 18th. February 18th. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. Motion carries. The bill will be laid over till February 18th. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 94?
Senate Bill 94 by Senator Crowder and Representative Vehil concerning the shared cost of a district public health agency by the counties in the district.
Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 94 is a very simple bill. Basically, what it does is it streamlines the effect of how we deal with, on a county level, with the new health care rules and regulations. I will tell you that this went through committee unanimous, and somebody wanted to have a word on it or two on it on the floor. Other than that, I don't know. I have a lot of information on it. If we could get... Mr. Chair, I move SB 094.
Is there further discussion? Senator Aguilar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I rise in support of this bill. It allows smaller counties to work together and save on economies of scale.
Is there any further discussion? Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. it's a simple bill, and it's like the previous senator said, it affects counties with a combination of population of 4,000, and it just streamlines the process and gives them the ability to do more resources. And with that, Mr. Chair, I just move the bill forward.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 94. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 94 is adopted. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 73?
Senate Bill 73 by Senator Grantham and Representative Lawrence concerning the authority of the state auditor to audit the use of state gaming tax revenues transferred from the state historical fund directly to the gaming cities for historic preservation.
Senator Grantham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 73 and the associated committee report.
Please proceed, Senator Grantham.
The committee report, Finance Committee, we made a couple changes. First one in particular was putting a 10-year sunset on this provision for the audit, making them, the original bill had it at every 5 years. Instead of having it indefinitely every 5 years, they put a provision in to have the first one due September 1st of 2017, and then the following 2 5-year cycles thereafter ending on September 1st, 2027. So a total of 3 possible audits allowed for in the bill. Secondly, it also removed a section of continuing authority for the state auditor to conduct post audits and performance audits on the subject matter, which is part of the bill. And I would ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. Senator Grantham to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Folks, this bill is a result of some actions that were actually happening in the off session in regard to the gaming towns, the constitutional gaming towns, and wanting to do some audits on the use of the funds that are the fund split that goes back to the towns for historic preservation. And these monies that are provided for by the people of Colorado through the Constitution and how they are being spent has never been able to be audited. A letter was sent to the auditor over the course of the interim requesting this audit, and we were informed that there was no statutory authority to do that, and so this bill is giving the statutory authority to accomplish those audits. Putting it in a very limited scope, and as far as the time frame, over a course of 5 years. The concept originally was to have it shorter than that, but under the auditor's guidance, actually, every 5 years is plenty, given the fact that if there are problems, it takes time to fix them, and an audit in the middle of the fix is not generally a great thing to be done, and usually a useless and costly thing when the auditor has so much other business to be accomplished. So that was much of the reason for the first amendment that we discussed in the committee report. Secondly, the continuing authority, there might be questions on that, and so I will leave my comments at that for now, Mr. Chair, and address any concerns as they come forward. And I'd ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion? Senator Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I rise in support of Senate Bill 73. I do have a little bit of concern about the lack of ongoing authority given on some of these post-audit pieces that were talked about in the committee report. But overall, I do support Senate Bill 73. I think it's important for us to take a look at how these funds are being spent. So I rise in support of Senate Bill 73.
Senator Grantham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator, on that. And we did briefly discuss some of the concerns, but we didn't address all of them in committee. I know that the removal of that section, I don't think in any way limits our ability as legislators to take it upon ourselves to make the requests of the auditor and the audit committee to do these if we do find grave concern, if we do have grave concerns over how they are being used, these funds. I think we'll see that initially in the first audit that is required to be done by September of 2017. So I think the continuing audits may be a redundant thing that we don't have to have done, that continuing authority, and I still think it's in the purview of our legislative duty to be able to accomplish what we can, regardless of losing section 3 in the committee report. So now I ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 73. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is adopted. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title of Senate Bill 121?
Senate Bill 121 by Senator Tate and Representative Garnett concerning the percentage of tuition revenue that an institution of higher education is authorized to pledge for contracts for the advancement of money.
Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that Senate Bill 121 lay over to February 18.
The motion is to lay Senate Bill 121 over to February 18th. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is adopted. Senate Bill 121 is laid over till February 18th. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 16?
Senate Bill 16 by Senator Stedman and Cabinet Representatives Holding Horse and Lawrence concerning the Scientific and Cultural Facilities District and in connection therewith amending the ballot question concerning the extension of the district to be submitted to the voters and modifying statutory provisions concerning the administration of the district.
Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the committee lay over Senate Bill 16 to February 24.
The motion before the body is to lay Senate Bill 16 over to February 24. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is adopted. Senate Bill 16 will be laid over till February 24. Mr. Majors, please read the title to Senate Bill 17.
Senate Bill 17 by Senator Neville and Representative Neville concerning allowing a law-abiding person to carry a concealed handgun without a permit in connection with preserving current laws restricting the carrying of concealed handguns on certain property, including school grounds.
Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the committee lay over Senate Bill 17 to February 18.
The motion is to lay Senate Bill 17 over to February 18th. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is adopted. Senate Bill 17 will be laid over till February 18th. Mr. Majors, please read the title to Senate Bill 34.
Senate Bill 34 by Senator Sonnenberg concerning tampering with a deceased human body.
Senator Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the committee lay over Senate Bill 34 to February 18.
The motion before the body is to lay Senate Bill 34 over till February 18th. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is adopted. Senate Bill 34 will be laid over till February 18th. Mr. Majors, please read the title to Senate Bill 90.
Senate Bill 90 by Senator Stedman and Representative Young concerning the ability of the Department of Public Health and Environment to collect data on marijuana health effects at a regional level.
Senator Stedman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 90, and I move the report of the Committee on Appropriations.
Senator Stedman to the Appropriations Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Appropriations Report repeals some obsolete language in the statute and removes the safety clause.
Is there further discussion to the Appropriations Report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Appropriations Report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The report is adopted. Senator Stedman to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill is a joint budget committee bill that was requested by the Department of Public Health and Environment in the course of their budget submissions this year. It really makes a one-word change regarding some health data reports that the department does regarding marijuana legalization. Current law requires those reports to be on a county-by-county basis, and this bill would allow those reports to be presented on a regional basis. Some of our counties are so small that there's concerns about the data set and also privacy, and so they felt regional reporting would be a preferable way to go. That's the bill, and I ask for an aye vote.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 90. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. The bill is passed. Mr. Majors, please read the title to Senate Bill 79.
Senate Bill 79 by Senator Todd and Representative Young concerning increasing the alignment of post-secondary workforce readiness initiatives at the secondary education level with post-secondary career and technical education.
Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the committee lay over Senate Bill 79 to February 18.
The motion before the body is to lay over Senate Bill 79 to February 18th. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 79 will be laid over till February 18th. Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the body is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come back to order. Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Mr. Majors, would you please read the report?
February 17, 2016, Mr. President, your committee the whole basis reports under consideration of the following tax bills being second reading thereof makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 94, Senate Bill 73 is amended, Senate Bill 90 is amended, passed on second reading in order to engross, placed on the counter for third reading and final passage. Senate Bills 7, 121, 17, 34, and 79 laid over until February 18, 2016, retaining their place on the calendar. Senate Bill 16 laid over until February 24, 2016, retaining its place on the calendar.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the committee report.
The motion before the body is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. Senate Bill 94, Senate Bill 73 as amended, Senate Bill 90 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 7, Senate Bill 121, Senate Bill 17, Senate Bill 34, Senate Bill 79 laid over until February 18th and retaining their place on the calendar. Senate Bill 16 laid over until February 24th and retaining its place on the calendar. Consideration of memorials. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Joint Memorial? Belay that. Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate lay over Senate Joint Memorial 1 to February 19.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Joint Memorial 1 will lay over until February 19th. Consideration of Governor's Appointments Consent Calendar. Mr. Majors, please read all of the Governor's appointments on the consent calendar.
Member of the Board of Trustees for Fort Lewis College effective December 31st, 2015 for term expiring December 31st, 2019. Stephen Ray Short of Durango, Colorado, service non-affiliated, reappointed. Members of the State Board for Community Colleges and Occupational Education effective December 31st, 2015 for term expiring December 31st, 2019. Teresa Kathleen Pena of Denver, Colorado, service resident in the 1st Congressional District and as a Democrat, reappointed. Myron Nelson McLeany of Evergreen, Colorado, service resident of the 2nd Congressional District and as a Democrat, reappointed. Members of the Colorado Commission on Higher Education for a term expiring July 1st, 2017. Thomas Oliver McGimsey of Louisville, Colorado, resident of the 2nd Congressional District and a Republican, and occasioned by the resignation of Regina M. Rodriguez of Denver, Colorado, appointed. For term expiring July 1st, 2019. Terrence Philip Fagan of Golden, Colorado, a resident of the 7th Congressional District and a Democrat, appointed. Effective July 1st, 2015 for term expiring July 1st, 2019. John Lewis Anderson of Durango, Colorado, serves a member west of the Continental Divide as a representative of the 3rd Congressional District and as a Republican, reappointed. Members of the College of Vest Board of Directors for term expiring July 31st, 2016. Jason B. Maples of Greenwood Village, Colorado, reappointed for term expiring July 31st, 2018. Sarah R. Williamson of Aurora, Colorado, reappointed for terms expiring July 31st, 2019. Martha Marty J. Awad of Denver, Colorado, appointed. Douglas W. Lyon of Durango, Colorado, reappointed.
Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate confirm the governor's appointments listed on the consideration of government's appointments consent calendar, which includes a member of the Board of Trustees for Fort Lewis College, members of the State Board for Community Colleges and Occupational Education, members of the Colorado Commission on Higher Education, and members of the College Invest Board of Directors.
You have heard the motion. Is there further discussion on any of the governor's appointments to any of the commissions on the consent calendar? Seeing none, with 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Stephen Ray Short is appointed as a member of the Board of Trustees for Fort Lewis College. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Teresa Kathleen Pena and Brian Nelson McClenny are appointed as members of the State Board for Community Colleges and Occupational Education. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Thomas Oliver McKimsey, Terrence Philip Fagan, and John Lewis Anderson are appointed as members of the Colorado Commission on Higher Education. With 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, Jason Maples and Sarah Williamson, Martha J. Awad, and Douglas Lyon are appointed as members of the College Invest Board of Directors. Announcements. For announcements, committee reports.
February 16, 2016, Committee on Local Government. After consideration, the Mayor's Committee recommends following Senate Bill 115 be amended as follows. Now so amended for the Committee on Finance, a favorable recommendation. February 16, 2016, Committee on Local Government. After consideration, the Mayor's Committee recommends following House Bill 1069 be amended as follows. Now so amended for the Committee of the Whole, favorable recommendation with the recommendation be placed on the consent calendar.
Message from the House.
February 17, 2016, Mr. President, the House has adopted a return to with Senate Joint Resolution 7.
Colleagues, please join me in welcoming back to the chamber Senator Dorothy Rupert. I hear you're here. Announcements. Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Many of you remember the Colorado Oil and Gas Association has done educational stuff in the past. They are starting that series again, What You Need to Know, Exploration and Production in Colorado, a comprehensive overview of all the oil and gas industry and how the industry safely and effectively access Colorado natural resources. That is tomorrow morning, Thursday, February 18th from 7:30 to 9 at the Casey Office Conference Room at 1600 Broadway, Suite 1000. They would love to see you. Thank you.
Senator Garcia.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. President. And the Colorado Beverage Association would like to invite you to a legislative reception tonight, 5:30 at the University Club. Hope to see you there.
Further announcements? Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, let me just begin to get you a handle on the schedule. If you look at your calendar, there are a number of committee meetings upon adjournment. Those will proceed as scheduled. As you know, we are going to be caucusing on the supplementals. The goal is to get to committee ASAP here, give them about an hour to do their business. We've checked with the committee chairs. They think that that will be sufficient time so that we're targeting to caucus at 11. Caucus today will be, on the supplementals, will be in LSB. This side of the chamber will be meeting in LSB B. This side of the chamber, Madam Minority Leader, will be meeting in LSB A. We're all over in LSB. So that's the game plan. We can talk about this. Were they changed? LSB, we're all across the street for supplementals. And there's going to be a couple of specific announcements on committees, but so regular committees upon adjournment, caucusing on supplementals at 11.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Education Committee, Senate Bill 52 will be laid over until tomorrow afternoon's 1:30 meeting. So 52 will not be heard today.
Senator Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Joint Budget Committee will be meeting immediately upon adjournment in our regular committee room. We'll be hearing figure-setting documents and recommendations on the entire judicial branch and setting their budget this morning, and then joining each caucus at 11 o'clock. For my colleagues, I'd suggest you bring your red books here, the supplemental books. It says supplementals on there. Bring those to the caucus meeting at 11 o'clock, so if you have any questions, we can use that as our guide. Thank you.
Further announcements?
Kevin?
Colleagues, I will make a brief announcement. As soon as we adjourn, we are going to play the video of the renovation for some folks, so anybody that's here, you're welcome to sit and observe. It's less than 3 minutes, but it's like living 2 years of renovation work in here in 2 minutes and 48 seconds. I think you'll enjoy it if you have a few minutes to stick around. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple of clarifications. After conferring with the Minority Leader, there are issues regarding food and meetings and scheduling. So, just to clarify, committees upon adjournment, you've heard those. Caucusing to go over the supplementals, that's going to be at a hard 11, or as soon as you can get there after committee, but we're thinking it'll be about 11. This side of the aisle will be caucusing in LSB-B, the new committee room. This side of the aisle will be doing it upstairs in 353. 353. You're home away from home, you'll be very comfortable there. 353. With that, Mr. President, I move that the Senate adjourn to 9 a.m. Thursday, February 18.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will be adjourned until 9 a.m. Thursday, February 18th.